are the Group 11, by the way, and the topic that we're going to talk all about this very afternoon is all about understanding sexual harassment. So from the word sexual harassment, it is an act or a series of acts involving any unwelcome sexual advance, request, or demand for a sexual favor or other verbal or physical behavior of a sexual nature committed by a government employee or official in a work-related training or education-related environment. So there are 5 theoretical perspectives of sexual harassment. So let's begin with the first one, natural or biological theory. So according to this model, men have stronger sex drives and are therefore biologically motivated to engage in sexual pursuit of women. So number 2, the second theory is sex role spillover theory. So this theory is based on the proposition of irrelevant theory, gender-based role expectations that individuals bring to the workplace in guiding their interactions with women. So the third theory is organizational theory. So this theory proposes that sexual harassment results from the opportunities presented by power and authority relations which derive from hierarchical structures of organizations. And number 4 is the social cultural theory. So this theory examines the wider social and political context in which sexual harassment is created and occurs. According to this perspective, sexual harassment is a logical consequence of the gender inequality and sexism that already exists in society. The last theory is feminist theory. So, according to this theory, the feminist perspective, sexual harassment is linked to the sexist male ideology of male dominance and male superiority in the society. Sexual harassment in here exists because of the views of women as the inferior sex, but also sexual harassment serves to maintain the already existing gender stratification by emphasizing sex role expectations. So that would be all for my part, and now let's proceed to the next discussion.
So to continue the discussion of Ms. Leymar did, so let's go forward to the lesson 22, which is the women's issue and development. Now, the main objectives of this lesson is to understand fully the principle, model, and concepts of WID or WAD and GAD. So, distinguish the three WAD and GAD from each other and determine the importance of these three principles to national development. Now, from the word development. So, development is the process in which someone or something grows or what? Change and becomes more advanced. So that is development. When we say development, it's talking about a person. Now, let's proceed. There are 3 theories in this lesson which I have said earlier that we'll be gonna be talking about the principle, the model, and the concept of WAD, and GAD. So now, let's proceed to the first one, which is the WAD, or the woman in development. So, women in development, by the 1970s, it became clear that women were being left out of development. They were not benefiting significantly from it. In some instance, their existing status and position in society were actually worse by development. Sa the woman in development or the web approach this issue, the inclusion of women from development program and approaches. Web or women in development saw women as a group that lacks opportunity to participate in development. So that is the women in development. Now let's proceed to the another one, which is the WAP. When we say WAP, it is a woman and development. So woman and development as a result of criticisms of the web approach. The women and development or WAP approach arose in the latter parts of the 1970s, adopting Marxist feminist approach. The main argument or WAP was that women had always been part of the development process, or the WAP asserts that women have always important economic actors. So, the works they do both inside and outside the household is critically to the maintenance of society. However, this integration has only served to sustain global inequalities. In other words, the web approach that placed emphasis on integrating women into development was not correct. The main focus of WAB is on the interaction between women and development. It is a process rather than purely or strategies to integrate women into development. WAB saw both women and men as not benefiting from the global economic structure become of the disadvantage due to class and the way wealth is distributed. WAB argued that the integration of women into development was to their disadvantage and only made their inequality worse. WAB saw global inequality as the main problem facing poor countries and the citizens of these countries. On the other hand, WAB has been criticized from assuming that the position of women will improve, and if when internationally structured become more inequitable, it sees women's positions as primarily within the structures of international and class inequalities. WAB even underplays the rule of patriarchy in undermining women's development and do not adequately address the question of social relation between men and women and their impact on development. So that is the web, which is the women and development. Now let's go to the last one, which is the gender and development, or for shorten it's called GAB. So GAB in the 1980s further reflection on the development experience of women gave rise to gender and development. It brought together both the lesson learned from and the limitations of the web and web approaches. God looks at the impact of development on both women and men. It seeks to ensure that both women and men participate in benefits equally from development and so emphasize equality of benefit and control it. So, it recognizes that women may be involved in development but not necessarily benefits from it. So, God is not concerned with women exclusively, but with the way in which gender relations allows specific roles and responsibilities and expectation between men and women, often to the detriment of women. This approach also particular attention to the oppression of women in the family or the private sphere of women's lives. As a result, we have seen projects develop addressing issues such as vow or the focus of God is on the social or gender relation where between men and women is society and seeks to address issue of access and control over resource and power. So that is gender and development. And I will give for the continuation of our discussion, I will give to the floor our next discussion.
The next topic is talk about practical approaches to the development of women. The welfare approach. The welfare approach. Until the early 1970s, development programs addressed the needs of women almost entirely within the context of their reproductive roles. The focus was on a mother and child health, child care, and nutrition. Population control or family planning, as it later came to be known, was a major focus as well due to the link made between population growth and poverty. The focus was clearly on meeting practical needs. The assumptions that women's position would improve together with general improvements in the economy or with the economic positions on their husbands began to be challenged as it became clear that women were in fact losing out. Women, as a result, were being increased associated with backwardness and the traditional, while men were increasingly identified with modern and progressiveness. The equity approach. Feminist calls for gender equality were important in bringing about this approach. The main aim of which was to eliminate discrimination. It emphasized the revaluing of women's contribution and shared benefits from development. The equity approach also dealt with both the productive and reproductive roles as responsibility of government. The equity approach is contrast to the welfare approach, so women as active participants organizing to bring about necessary changes. Next is the anti-poverty approach. This approach focuses on both the productive and reproductive role of women with an emphasis of satisfaction of basic needs and productive of women. A key of operational strategy required access to income generation and wage employment. The tendency with this approach was to reinforce the basic needs and ignore the tragic needs of women. Next is the efficiency approach. The efficiency approach aims to have increased production and economic growth with an emphasis of full use of human resources. Advocates of the approach argue that gender analysis make good economic sense. This is because understanding men's and women's roles and responsibilities as part of the planning of development activities helps improve effectiveness and ensures that women, as well as men, can play their part in national development. The efficiency approach succeeded in bringing the concerns about women and gender into the mainstream of development. However, this was done with a focus on what women could do for development, rather than of what development could do for women. Next is the empowerment approach. The aim of the empowerment approach is to increase the self-reliance of women and to influence change of the policy, legislative, societal, economic, and other levels to their advantage. Its main strategy is awareness raising situates women firmly as active participants, ensuring change to take place. The empowerment approach has been instrumental in ensuring that opportunities are open for women to determine their own needs. However, empowerment has often been misunderstood to be an end rather than a means. This has resulted in poor women becoming very knowledgeable about issues while realizing little change to their material situation was offered desired. So that is my topic about practical approaches to the development of women. That's all.